Hello, I'm Joseph Giunta, the music director and conductor of the Des Moines Symphony and Academy, and welcome to our Masterworks 3 concert, Romeo and Rach 2. There's no question that composers have been inspired by the plays of Shakespeare for hundreds of years. Mendelssohn, Tchaikovsky, Ravel, and of course Prokofiev. This is the kind of music that I believe is not only wonderfully programmatic in storytelling, but also very vivid in our imaginations. The language of Shakespeare captivated so many wonderful composers. Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet is one of the most popular and exciting pieces ever written. Tchaikovsky specifically called it a symphonic fantasy, overture fantasy, but it's actually a symphonic poem where it tells a story. The first section in the very beginning is very chorale-like. It represents the theme of Friar Lawrence, and then sort of ominous and very pastoral, but then as it unfolds, it gets a little bit more violent, which sets up the second section, which is the fighting and the aggression of the Montagues and Capulets. And finally, this beautiful love theme comes in, which is the third section, which is the first meeting of Romeo and Juliet on the balcony scene. It's scored for a large orchestra, beautiful, beautiful orchestration. At the very end, of course, there's two large orchestra chords, loud orchestra chords with cymbals, and this represents, of course, the suicide of the two lovers. It's a fabulous piece of music and one that I know people will really enjoy. You can't find two more different settings of Romeo and Juliet than the Tchaikovsky one and the Prokofiev one. The Tchaikovsky one is based in 19th century melody and romance, where the 20th century Prokofiev sets his in more of a contemporary modern sounds with dissonance and neoclassic kind of writing. It's a new harmonic kind of structure, but in 20th century writing. So they're very different, but also very appealing, I think. Rachmaninoff is one of the most interesting double threats. You know, he was a composer and a wonderful pianist, maybe one of the great pianists of all time. He premiered this particular concerto playing it himself in 1901, and it was a piece that immediately caught the favor of the public. But the story in front of it is that after his first symphony was premiered, the public did not like this piece, and as a result it sent him into a pretty serious depression. And he finally went to a doctor whose name was Dr. Nikolai Dahl. Dr. Dahl really helped him get out of the writer's block and the darkness that was in his brain at that point. The first movement, it begins in C minor and has a sort of a wonderful bell-like idea in the opening with just the piano, and then opens up into some really beautiful, beautiful writing, very characteristic of Russian writing. The second movement starts in C minor and then eventually gets to E major, which is a more slow adagio type writing, beautiful solos for the clarinet and flutes. And then finally the last movement's a scherzo, a fast movement. It's a wonderful virtuoso writing for both the piano and the orchestra. It's very exciting, wonderful triumphal ending with the famous theme again that everybody loves, and it will be a stunning finale to this performance with Lise de la Salle. I first heard her in Aspen a summer ago and did a recital and then played a private audition for me, and was wonderfully gifted. She's musically very intelligent, very logical, I think very exciting to watch play. There's a certain amount of internal flamboyance that comes with her playing, which I think people will really enjoy. It's going to be great fun to bring her to Des Moines and great fun to work with her. Well, the Borodin Polovetsyan dances were excerpted and used in and out of the opera by Borodin called Prince Igor. These are exciting Russian character dances that are thrilling to listen to, and the melody in this that's played first by the oboe also inspired some musical shows, including Strangers in Paradise, which is a fitting melody to end, especially with the symphony concert, I think, which we hope always brings people to some sort of paradise. Russian music has a certain character and a certain angst to it that no other music in the world has. We just did a German program, and that program had its own personality, its own style. The Russian music, in my opinion, is a little bit more raw, a little bit more heartfelt, and it certainly has a lot of dance-like qualities to it. As people hear this concert, that they'll hear a wonderful and appealing kinds of sounds between Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky and Prokofiev on board. And it's really a very exciting style for us to play, and different styles within all this Russian music. It's going to be a terrific program, I think. I hope to see you all there at the Civic Center, November 19th and 20th, for this wonderful program we're calling Romeo and Rach 2.